Zuckerberg's image is so closely tied to Facebook. It's always been him running the show, and so if people lose trust in Zuckerberg, then they're going to lose trust in Facebook. They're basically synonymous.
Mark Zuckerberg, creator of Harvard's thefacebook.com. How big do you think your product or your service is?
Well, it's impossible to tell. When we first launched, we were hoping for, maybe 400, 500 people. Harvard didn't have a Facebook, so that's the gap that we were trying to fill. And now we're at 100,000 people, so maybe we could make something cool.
Quite a bit has changed in terms of the way that at least he talks publicly about the platform itself. One of the things is, that we have to understand is that this started as a very different kind of platform. Initially, he didn't position it as a social network. And so, a lot of his early language was specifically around, the directory.
There doesn't necessarily have to be more, like a lot of people are focused on taking over the world or doing the biggest thing, getting the most users. And I think part of making a difference and doing something cool is focusing intensely in college.
Around 2008, 2009, we started to see some changes in his positioning of Facebook as a community, right? It really became this, not just a technology, but a space for people to collaborate, to share, to connect, to be more open.
So for the last 10 years, Facebook has been on this mission to make the world more open and connected. And for us, that really means the whole world.
If you say that you're a community, that's very different than saying we're a business. And I think that some of the language that he uses, as it became a business, was really purposefully to draw away from the fact it was becoming a business.
So if we were primarily focused on profits, the most reasonable thing for us to do would be to really just focus on the first billion people who are using our product. We're here to help connect the world, and we take that really seriously. And to some degree, you can't really do that if 2/3 of the world doesn't even have access to the internet.
In his language, it's not just about, we're not just here to make money. It's that, we want to change the world for the better. Now, of course, we're seeing that, that openness isn't a blanket good.
What happened? What went wrong?
So this was a major breach of trust. And I'm really sorry that this happened. We have a basic responsibility to protect people's data. And if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people. So our responsibility now is to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
But the CNN interview was pretty interesting. What he did was it sort of falls in line with a lot of, Facebook's historical apologies, where it's like, okay, well, here we recognize the issue, we're taking steps to address it. It's not necessarily that there's a core problem with the way that Facebook actually operates as a business. And he did have that little bit at the end, which I thought was also really interesting, where he got very emotional.
I used to think that the most important thing to me by far was, my having the greatest positive impact across the world that I can. And now, I really just care about building something that my girls are going to grow up and be proud of me for.
And that kind of emotional appeal is not something that we see a lot of. Their old motto used to be move fast and break things, and I think that they're realizing that's no longer tenable. I think that there are genuine steps that he's taking to be reflective about his company, but I also think that he's also getting a lot of additional help in terms of being reflective about the company's goals.
For most of our existence, we focused on all of the good that connecting people can do. But it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.